Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samastajana Kalyani Niratan Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Namasri Shankarananda Guru Padam Pujanmane Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaika Karmane. Yesterday, we saw a question from Purvapakshi. What was the question? We have seen two vadas are there. Avachedavada, Abhasavada or Pratibimbavada. Two vadas are there. For what? To explain about the Jiva. Who is Jiva? Jiva is a conditioned consciousness. That's what is replied in Avachedavada. Jiva is a reflected consciousness in Abhasavada. Why do we need Jiva to speak about karma, punarjanma? There's somebody who is going through, no? Jiva is going through all this. So Purvapakshi says, why do you bring Abhasavada? Opponent says, why do you bring Abhasavada, the reflection of consciousness in the mind? Chidabhasa is formed. That is Jiva. So you don't have to explain here because it is Gaurava. Gaurava means very complicated because involved in three terms. One is the original consciousness, reflecting medium, and the reflection in it. Three are there. In Avachedavada, conditioned consciousness, Ghatavachinna Chaitanyam, Patavachinna Chaitanyam, the consciousness conditioned by the pot, for example. So pot space, space conditioned by pot, Ghatakasha. So in our case, only two things are there. Ghatam is required and all pervading Akasa is already there. And we are able to explain. And then Ghata moves, the inner, the space also moves. The quantity, for example, milk, you put milk also moves in that. So we can address the issue of Jiva going from one loka to other loka. Because a conditioned Jiva consciousness, he can travel. As pot travels, subtle body travels, he travels. It's okay. So this is enough. So why are you bringing Abhasavada? There is no need. Avachedavada will do. And Vidyaranya we saw yesterday, he is speaking about Abhasavada because we saw in Abhasavada, Jiva, Jiva Karma, all such things can be explained. The benefits are there in each Vada. For Jnana Marga, Avachedavada is better. Meaning, no bringing Karma Kanda portion. Because Karma Kanda, for whom the Karma Phala, Jiva, who is Jiva, Chidabhasa, he travels, so this is required. In Jnana, only dissolution of the Upadhi is necessary. In Jnana Marga. When dissolution of Upadhi takes place, then the Jiva, conditioned consciousness, merges in total consciousness. So Avachedavada is better, he says, Purvapakshi says. So Vidyaranya Muni gives an answer to this today. He says, Shrunvasanga paricheda matra jivo bhave nahi anyatha gatakudyadaihi avachinnasya jivata. 28th sloka. Shrun. Now listen to the answer. Your doubt. But what is the prasad? Vidyaranya says, according to you, O Purvapakshi, in my proposition of Abhasavada, is incomplete, not required, not incomplete, not required. But in your case, there is Ati Prasanga dosha. In which case, sorry, the Purvapakshi says to Vidyaranya Muni, in your case, Ati Prasanga, extra is added. So now, here he says, Asangaha. What is Kutastha? Asanga Kutastha. In the sloka, you can see Asangaha. Surunu Asanga is there. 1 second. Yes, Surunu Asanga Paricheda Matra Jivo Bhavet na Jivo Bhavet. In Asanga Kutastha, in this word, Asanga refers to what? Refers to Kutastha Chaitanya, which is detached, unattached. Kutastha is unattached. It is the original consciousness, not the reflected consciousness. A Kutastha is original consciousness. Vidyaranya Muni says, this Kutastha Chaitanya Paricheda Matra Jivahana Bhavet. This Kutastha can never become a Jiva by merely conditioning it, by merely or being enclosed within the mind or buddhi, whatever you use, antakarana, it is enclosed in antakarana. By merely enclosed by the mind, the Kutastha, Asanga Kutastha cannot become, will not become a Jiva. By merely Paricheda Matrat Jivaha na Bhavet. So, how does it matter for Kutastha? Suppose Kutastha is enclosed in a mind, buddhi. So, how can it become Jiva? So, when original consciousness, Kutastha Chaitanya, when it is enclosed in a room or in a pot, he says, no, Ghata Kudyadyahi, or in the wall. Kudya means wall. So it is enclosed when it is by merely enclosing the Kutastha Chaitanya in a pot or a room, it cannot become Jiva. What is it? Avachedavadi says? Avachedavadi says, enclosed consciousness is Jiva. Is it not? A consciousness, when enclosed, is Jiva. Buddhi avachinna chaitanyam. Consciousness conditioned by Buddhi, enclosed by Buddhi, within Buddhi, it becomes Jiva. Now Vicharamani says, by mere enclosure, by consciousness when enclosed, it cannot become Jiva. If according to you, enclosed, conditioned consciousness is Jiva, all pervading consciousness is there, always there, all pervading. So when the consciousness conditioned by pot also is there, in the pot also consciousness is conditioned. In the pot you keep, within the pot also consciousness is there. So consciousness conditioned by the pot, then it should become Jiva. So any pot you keep, it should become Jiva. Because according to you, Avachedavadi, conditioned consciousness, enclosed consciousness is Jiva. Then the consciousness conditioned by wall, by pot also should become Jiva. Anyatha, otherwise, Gatakutyadhyaihi avachinnasa jivata. So I repeat again. When, what is Avachedavada? Consciousness conditioned. Like a space conditioned by the pot. There is a space in the pot. So the consciousness conditioned within the Buddhi is Jiva, he says. Vicharanamani says, by merely conditioning, by enclosed, when consciousness is enclosed in Buddhi, it doesn't become Jiva. Because if that is your definition, that any enclosed consciousness becomes Jiva, then consciousness is there within the pot also. Because consciousness is all pervading. So I can say consciousness conditioned by the pot. Then does it become a Jiva? Does pot become an entity, Jiva? Does wall become a Jiva? Wall also conditioned consciousness. Desk, table, chair, wherever consciousness is conditioned, does it become Jiva? So because consciousness is available, anything can become Jiva, it doesn't happen, no? Then what is the difference between Jada and Chetana? So you make a pot starts talking, pot starts moving, pot starts jumping. Pot becomes alive. Because enclosed consciousness is Jiva. So if you define Parichinna Chaitanyam, if you define Jiva as Parichinna Chaitanya, it is called Atiprasanga Dosha, meaning it will have an extension into unnecessary zones. Like, how can you extend the same thought, Parichinna Chaitanyam, to pot? So Vicharanamani says to Purapakshi, yours will be the Atiprasanga Dosha. Because this will be extended, no? Which one? Conditioned consciousness is Jiva. Then it is extended to pot also, to any vessel also. Everything becomes alive. So pot also will become Jiva, desk will become Jiva, table will become Jiva, chair will become Jiva, wall become a Jiva. So your answer is wrong. Then tell me then how. So conditioned consciousness, mere conditioned consciousness cannot become Jiva. For which Purvapakshi answers again. He says, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Please listen to me. Why I said Buddhi avachinna chaitanyam is Jiva. Because Buddhi is different. You are unnecessarily mingling my words. I will answer you. Who says? Opponent says to Vidyaranyana. So what did the first question was asked? Why do you bring Abhasavada? Avachinna chaitanya is enough. Then Vidyaranyana said, by merely by avachinna vada, by merely concludes the consciousness, it doesn't become Jiva. If it becomes Jiva, part also should become Jiva, etc. For which again Purvapakshi says, no, 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 no. Opponent says, no, no, sir, you are mistaken. What is that now? He says in 29th verse, Nakudya sadrushi buddhihi swachhatvaditi chet tatha astunam aparichede kim swachayena bhavet tava. Kim swachayena bhavet tava. Slight mistake in my text here, not in your books, in my notes. What I typed. So, swachayena bhavet tava. Now, no, sir. There is a difference between buddhi, the mind, or buddhi antakarana, in which kutastha is conditioned by antakarana. We are talking about avachedavadana. We are not talking about reflection. We are talking about conditioned. Kutastha conditioned by buddhi. So, the kutastha consciousness conditioned by buddhi is not same as consciousness conditioned by part. So he says, how can you equate? Opponent says, how can you equate a part and a mind? Buddhi or mind, whatever I use, antakarana, it is vritti only, vritti. How can you? And he says, okay, I know. Purvapakshi says, I know. Part is what? Jada vastu. Agreed. Then what is mind? Mind also Jada only. Purvapakshi says to Vidyaranyana. I know mind also is Jada. Part is physical. Matter. Mind also is a matter only. Padartha. Both are same in all respects. Agreed. Part made up of gross matter, stula bhautika. Mind also is the bhautika only, sukshma bhautika. Padartha, the mind is made up of subtle elements. Part is made up of gross elements. Both are pancha bhautika only. Both are matter only. Agreed. All that you are said is correct. Okay, agreed. Even then, I say, who says Purvapakshi, opponent? I say to you, O Vidyaranya ji, that there is a difference in this matter in which the consciousness is conditioned. Both are made up of, one is a grosser aspect of matter, second is subtle matter. Both are matter only, agreed. But there is a difference in the conditioned consciousness. What is that? See, mind is a finer matter, more refined than the stula gross matter that is called pot. Example, we are taking pot. Mind is a finer matter, subtle matter. So consciousness is enclosed by both, by the pot also and by the mind also. But there is a difference in enclosed consciousness. What is the difference? One is enclosed by a gross matter, pot. Other is enclosed by subtle matter, refined matter called mind. So buddhi kudya sadrushi. Na kudya sadrushi buddhi. Buddhi is not like the wall, the pot, kudya is wall, etc. Conscious conditioned by the walls, room space. It is not like that. Swachhatvat iti chet. Because why? Swachhatvat. Because the matter, the buddhi, in which the kutastha is conditioned by buddhi, in which the kutastha or chit is enclosed, that conditioning is more refined, more pure. Therefore, mind is not like a pot or on the wall, conditioned wall be conditioned, consciousness conditioned by the walls. So one is a finer matter, other is grosser matter. This is what I want to say. Who said this? Opponent. To whom? Vidyaranya. Therefore, the condition. So, what did you say? Vidyaranya said. Vidyaranya say, Avachedavada, if that is merely enclosed consciousness is jiva, then there is a pot enclosed, a wall enclosed consciousness. They all become jivas only then. They should talk, they should move out. It is not happening. Consciousness is all pervading. For which Purvapakshi says, no, one is refined matter, one is gross matter. Iti chet. That's the question. Tatha astu nama parichede kim swachena bhavet tava. Answer is given. Let it be so. So tatha astu. Okay, one is a gross matter, one is finer matter, one is gross matter. Agreed. According to you, the mind or the buddhi is finer. But even though the buddhi is finer compared to pot, right? Just because it is finer, the consciousness conditioned by the mind cannot become jiva, no? It is as good as consciousness conditioned by the pot. Mind may be refined matter. But what is the difference in that? Both are conditioned consciousness alone. Both are, one is grosser matter or subtle matter. How does it matter for us? See, swachena bhavet tava kim bhavet tava. By purity, purity matter is, mind is purity. So conditioned conscious become jiva. तो इसमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Purity हो ना purity हो. इन दोनों में से चैतन्य तो अवच्छिन्न हुआ ना, कंडीशनड हुआ ना. So just as a part conditioned chaitanya, how can the mind conditioned chaitanya become a jiva? So what advantage you are getting in this parichede? Parichede, in this paricheda conditioning, enclosed consciousness, kim swachena bhavet. What is that? By swachena, by saying, calling it as a pure, this is pure, subtler and pure. Therefore, the conditioned consciousness by the mind become jiva. In what way you can say that? So what is it now? So enclosed consciousness, whether it is enclosed by pot, whether it is enclosed by mind, is one and the same. So Gathavachinna Chaitanyam, Buddhavachinna Chaitanyam, both are same. क्या फर्क पड़ता है बताओ? See, one is becoming jiva, other is not becoming jiva. ये कैसा संभव है? Either both become jivas or either both don't become jivas. तो इसके लिए उनको उदाहरण दे रहे हैं. विद्यारण्य gives another beautiful example. फर्क क्या पड़ता है? So he gives an example and says कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, to prove that whether the consciousness conditioned by the mind, consciousness conditioned by the pot, buddhi or mind, pot one side, conditioned consciousness cannot become jiva. That's it. Whether the conditioning is pure or impure. This is what he says. What is the example now? He says, प्रस्थेन दारुजन्येन कांसजन्येन वा नहि विक्रेतुस्तुण्डलादीनां परिमाणं विशिष्यते. प्रस्थेन, प्रस्थ by measurement. So example is a very beautiful example he gives. Suppose you want to give something to somebody. In olden days, एक शेयर, दो शेयर ऐसा होता था. The different religion, different languages may be there. I mean, words are there. नापने के लिए, मेजर करने का. तो मेजरिंग एक बाउल होता है, 1 लीटर का बाउल या 1 किलो का बाउल. So you want to kilo 1 kilo to somebody. So you have a dabba measuring. So इसके अंदर क्या है? स्पेस, खाली स्पेस है. So space enclosed. तो उसमें आप जो कोई चीज भर देता है वो बराबर हो जाता है 1 किलो का बराबर. तो 1 किलो नापने वाला एक मेजर, एक डब्बा भर दो, ऐसा करेक्ट कर दो, एक बराबर 1 किलो. So that space inside is particular volume, 1 kilo volume. और लिक्विड ले लो 1 लीटर का, एक होगा. So whatever it is. So you are not seeing the material there, but space 1 लीटर का 1 किलो का है कि नहीं देखते हैं. उसमें भर गया, जो भी भरा है वो 1 किलो बराबर होता है. Like grains you take. Okay, that is measuring. So Vijay asked question. Once the definition of a measure is, it is defined as enclosed space. एक मेजर लिया 1 किलो का, उसमें चावल भरो, आटा भरो, जो भी भरो, वो तो 1 किलो ही होता है ना. Whatever type of material you use inside, वो तो बराबर ही है. एक किलो का स्टोन लिया टू मेजर, तराजू में रखकर 1 किलो, जो कुछ भी रखा है वो 1 किलो के बराबर ही होता है ना. इसमें गुड़ रखो, चावल रखो, आटा रखो, नाप सकते हैं. That is a knob. Similarly, measure. Conditioned consciousness, we take that measure. How does it matter? What is the material used? What type of? It could be darujanyena. It could be made up of wood. It could be made up of metal. Any metal, brass, copper, anything you take. नापने वाला जो मेजर, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अंदर जो चीज है 1 किलो का ही होता है. 1 kilo means it becomes 1 kilo only. So material does not matter. The inside space is important. In that space, exactly whatever is filled, it should be 1 kilo. So volume, whether it is enclosed by plastic container, measuring bowl, or wooden measuring bowl, or a measuring bowl made up of any metal, it is same. It is same. Similarly, in your case, enclosed consciousness is jiva. So enclosing material क्या फर्क पड़ता है? It could be enclosed by pot, it could be enclosed by buddhi. In what way there is a difference? Consciousness is same, no, inside. So consciousness, when enclosed by anything, it should become jiva. So according to you, anything should become jiva, anything conditioned is jiva. This is what Germany asks. Purvapakshi says. He says, Parimana visheshepi pratibimbo vishishyate kamsye yadi tada buddha vapya bhaso bhavet palat. Now Purvapakshi says, Parimana avisheshepi. So Purvapakshi is raising another question here. Of course, sir. Agreed. In a wooden measure or measured wooden measure, rice measured in a wooden jar for 1 kilo, or rice measured in a jar of for 1 kilo measuring jar made up of metal. So amount is same. No difference. Agreed. Parimana avisheshepi pratibimbo vishishyate. When you put rice in a wooden jar of 1 kilo, so will you see in the walls of the wooden jar, will you see the reflection of rice in it? No. So if you will take very copper vessel, brass vessel, anything, shining, clean, and put rice and all, you can see the reflection of rice within the measuring jars. The Purvapakshi says. So what is the difference between wooden measuring jar and metal measuring jar? In the metal, whatever you put, the reflection is created. The reflection is there. Why? Because the metal is being a finer material. It can reflect the stuff which is put inside. Therefore, in one there is a reflection, same measure, 1 kilo, but reflection. In a metal jar, 1 kilo jar, wooden jar, no reflection. This is the difference. So you are asking what is the difference between the material in which the consciousness is conditioned, between pot and the thought, the vritti or buddhi. This is the difference. So he said, even though the measuring is the same, measure is same, but there is a reflection in it. So Vijayaraman immediately said, that is why we define reflection is called as jiva. Why don't we accept it? You came to our Siddhanta now. Mind being subtle matter, finer matter, the reflection of consciousness takes place in the mind. And the reflection is not in the pot. In the mind, the reflection is there. That is why we define jiva as what? As the reflected consciousness. Why can't we accept that? So mind is made subtle matter. Because of subtle matter, the consciousness which is conditioned by the mind reflects in the mind. Therefore, that reflection is called as jiva. So pot has no abhasa chaitanya. Pot has no abhasa, no reflection. Only conditioned consciousness is there, no reflection. In the case of mind, it is conditioned consciousness with reflection. Consciousness conditioned by the mind, and the consciousness is reflected because of the finer material called mind, the thought. But pot is not a jiva, but mind is in the conscious chidabhasa, reflected consciousness in the mind is jiva. Hope it is clear now. So here is the word now explaining word meaning of abhasa. Next topic. He enters. So the Purvapakshi answers, questions were answered. So therefore, even though consciousness is all pervading, pot, etc., cannot become a jiva. So the buddhi is so subtle. It has got the capacity to reflect the consciousness. So we saw in 6th chapter, pot, the space in the pot, put water in the pot, and that water is a mental vritti. In that thought, again the space is reflected. A brilliant example. Because in the thought also already the consciousness is pervading. Reflection is extra, like pot, water in the pot. So pot space, therefore it can accommodate the water. In that water, Mahakasha reflected. Because of the quality, the substance called water. If you put in any rice or anything, reflection may not take place. It doesn't take place. Any pattar prakha, reflection doesn't take place. So because the buddhi is subtlest matter, there the consciousness reflects and becomes jiva, individual entity. Okay. Ishadbhasanamabhasaha pratibimbastatha vidaha bimbalakshanahinas san bimbavad bhasate sahi. Now, he is telling the difference between Bimba and Pratibimba. The next topic is entering. So what do we call reflected consciousness? It is called abhasa. Abhasa. Other name is what? Pratibimba. There are some shastras that explain the difference between slight dip, though Pratibimba or Abhasa, one and the same. But in some Vedantic textbooks, which I don't remember now, there are there, where they speak about the difference between Pratibimba and Abhasa also. These two words are same only, but slight variations are there. But we are not entering into that. Vijayanaramani takes both are one and the same. Practical purposes, Pratibimba or Abhasa is one and the same. Okay. So what do you mean by Abhasa? There says Ishat Bhasanam. The limited consciousness. Ishat means limited. The limited consciousness, conditioned consciousness. Ishat Bhasanam Abhasaha Pratibimba Tatha Vida. Pratibimba Tatha Vida. Pratibimba also similar type. Ishat Bhasanam. No, he says Ishat Bhasana means what? Limited. So the original reflection. Now you say, for example, let us take mirror image. Mirror image as it is, but there is a reverse. When I lift right hand here, mirror shows left hand rising. Difference. It is my image only. But Ishat Bhasana only. It is not complete as original. If it is original, then why two originals ho jayega? It's a mirror image, but it is me only. My own image. Not me, but my image only. Practically, it is me only. Standing in mirror, I feel it is me, I'm standing there. But what is the difference? It is not the original, no? It's a reflection. So one is image is reversed. Lateral reversion. So when I lift left hand, in that mirror image, right hand lifts. One thing. Second thing, I have 3 dimensions. Depth also. Original has depth. In mirror image, no depth. It's a flat. So it is not a complete reflection, means not as it is. No reflection is complete. No reflection is as original. That's what it says. Ishat Bhasanam. Partial image it is called. Of the original. Pratibimba Tatha Vidha. Pratibimba also is same. So he is not differentiating. Pratibimba also, the word Pratibimba, reflection, slight differences are there. I am not going there. We have to study some of the Shastras for that. But that is not a primary topic for us. Whether you call Pratibimba, whether you call Abhasa, it is called Ishat Bhasanam. It's a partial image is created. Like in my mirror image, partial image is created. So partial resemblance. Selfie, you take selfie. Selfie, the picture is reversed. You know, mobile selfies. So, Ishat Bhasana means what? Partial resemblance. not as it is. So original reflection, partial resemblance. What is the partial? You can say photo is a partial resemblance. Why? Because what is the photo size? What is your size is about 5 feet, 6 feet height. Photo, you are seeing photograph. Proportionately reduced, no? A small photo. But it is to you only, partial representation. Partial resemblance of the original. You are again 3-dimensional. It is only 2-dimensional. Statue you take is also partial resemblance only, not exactly as it is. Shadow you take, shadow also your resemblance only, but not you as fully you. So they are called Ishat Bhasanam. So original characteristics are plenty. Original has a lot of character. Original can talk, photo cannot talk. Original can move, photo cannot move on its own. Think. So Ishat Bhasanam Abhasaha Pratibimba Tathavidaha. Pratibimba also is like just like the same. Vilakshana Bimba Lakshana Hinaha San Bimbavad Bhasate. So it has got actually Bimba Lakshana Hinaha. What is that now? Other one? Bimbavad Bhasate. It has not got the full characteristics of the Bimba, but Bimbavat Bhasate. So what are the common features now? So partial features is resemblance. So Bimbalakshana Hinaha. It is unlike the original object which is reflecting. Bimbavat, like the original. Bimbavat, like the original. Bhasate, it shines forth. Why? You take reflected light. Sunlight reflected in a bucket of water. It also got the illumination power. Sunlight reflected in mirror. It can also illumine, no? Mirror reflected light also illumines the objects in the room. Windows are closed. Only small hole is kept to a window. We put a black paper, small hole is kept, and we put a mirror outside. We used to do, when we were children, we used to do that. We used to, on the Divar compound wall, we used to put a mirror and throw the light on the dark room. Through the hole, inside the room, you can see the beam of light. Beam of light on the wall. In that beam of light, we used to use convex lens and put the frames, film frames, invert it and put the lens there. And this one lens, we put it here, and this put the frame, and it projects on the wall. We used to make a house-made projector. So that projector is made up of reflected light from mirror. But what is the original sun? What is its size? What is this size? What is its light? What is this light? It has got some property, resembling. What is resembling? It can shine in a miniature form, small way. It can shine. It can illumine. That's what will come next line. So, therefore, it is devoid of the nature of the original object, but appears to be like the reflected object. 1 second. I make a small correction in the text, which I am making, not your text. Okay. If we don't correct then and there, we forget later on. Okay, next one. Sasangat स्वविकाराभ्याम बिंबलक्षणहीनता स्फूर्तिरूपत्वमेतस्य बिंबवद्भासनं विदुः. So what are the common features, resembling features? What are non-resembling features? बिंब में प्रतिबिंब में दोनों के बीच में चिदाभास प्रतिबिंब कूटस्थ, इन दोनों में क्या क्या फीचर्स कॉमन है, क्या क्या फीचर्स अनकॉमन है? रिजेंबलिंग क्या है, अनरिजेंबलिंग, नॉन रिजेंबलिंग क्या है? Because in the previous sloka he said Vijayam Pratibimba has resemblance. Certain features are resembling. Certain features are not there. So what features are there? We take plastic flower, original flower. Original flower, plastic flower look alike. Both look alike. Because the technology has developed so naturally, you feel real bananas are kept, real apples are kept on table. Real flower is kept. Smell also, you have put some spray, the same color, same smell, fragrance is coming out of the flower. So it is resembling original flower. So दूर से दिखने में फ्लावर ही लग रहा था. नजदीक जाने के बाद मैंने देखा खुशबू भी आ रहा है, खुशबू. तो मैं निश्चय कर लिया कि ये तो फूल ही है. This is flower only. Fragrance also is coming. It looks like original flower, fragrance is there. फिर भी मैंने जानना चाहता हूं कि सच है कि झूठ है. ओरिजिनल है. तो पकड़ के देखा, जब पता चला ये प्लास्टिक है. तो आई धोखा दिया, नाक भी धोखा दे सकता है. तो इस मामले में प्रबल प्रमाण क्या है? स्पर्श. और समय को भी देखना है. समय में the original flower will fade. Plastic doesn't fade. So certain things are common, certain things are uncommon. So here it says sasangatva vikarabhyam. There are two things are there. Abhasa is, reflection is sasanga. It has got a relationship. It is always with reflecting medium. This will come later on. माने जैसे मन है, जब for example the reflection of mine in the mirror. So the reflected image in the mirror is always associated with the mirror, is it not? What is mirror? Reflecting medium. So reflection is always associated with the reflecting medium. So it is sasanga. Abhasa is sasanga. This is first feature. This is sasangatva. Second is what? Vikara. It is constantly changing. Vritti is changing, Chidabhasa is changing. Some pure thoughts you generate. Pure thoughts, sattvic thoughts. Chidab, there the glow is brighter. If we generate very low, greedy, harmful thoughts, then the dimness will be there. Chidabhasa. In the plant, Chidabhasa is dull. Animal, little better. But human being is brighter. In Devatas, Jyotanat Deva, they are still glowing, brilliant light. So, Sasangatva Vikarabhyam Bimbalakshana Hinata, unlike the Kutastha Chaitanya. What is Kutastha Chaitanya? Not Sasangatva, it is not associated with anyone, it is independent. It is not Vikari also, Kutastha. But here Chidabhasa is Vikari, changing constantly and also attached to the reflecting medium. And second thing is what? Spurti Rupatvametasya Bimbavat Bhasanam Viduhu. The illumination aspect is there, no? Illumining aspect. Spurti, like I told example of reflected sun in the mirror, Spurti, it is able to throw light. It is also able to illuminate. Similarly, this Chidabhasa has got the illumining aspect like Kutastha. It has also got capacity to illuminate because Chidabhasa goes and illumines the light on the object, illumines the object or external objects. Bimbavat Bhasanam Viduhu. This is how the wise people differentiated between the Kutastha and Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is attached, associated always with the reflecting medium, subjected to change constantly. And what is the common? This is the uncommon. What is the common feature resemblance? Kutastavat, like Kutastha, Chidabhasa also has got the capacity to illumine. So these are the common resemblings. What are the resembling points and non-resembling points? I will stop here and tomorrow we can continue from 34th verse. Thank you. Hari Om. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Sat Gurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all. Hari Om.